IMSA. IMSA, or the International Motorsports Association, is the main body that supervises sports car racing in North America. The organization was founded in 1969 by John Bishop, a former Sports Club Car of America director and Sikorsky aircraft employee, and his wife Peggy, with backing from NASCAR founder Bill France Sr., who owned 75% of IMSA's founding shares. At present, IMSA is under the jurisdiction of the Automobile Competition Committee for the United States, or the ACC US arm of the FIA, while simultaneously being wholly owned by NASCAR. IMSA sponsors numerous racing series, the most renowned being the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, which incorporates long-distance endurance events such as the Rolex 24 at Daytona and 12 Hours of Sebring. The multi-class racing concept of IMSA is what sets it apart. Various car classes compete on the track at the same time. These include GT cars, which are based on production sports cars from companies like Porsche, Ferrari and Lexus, and high-performance prototype cars, which are specially constructed race machines. Each of the car classes in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is designed for endurance racing. At the top are hybrid prototypes known as GTP cars, which display state-of-the-art technology from automakers like Acura, BMW, Cadillac and Porsche, and generate about 670 horsepower and 200 miles per hour. The 540 horsepower Gibson V8 powered spec-built prototypes, utilized in the LMP2 class, are aimed at privateer competition and dependability. GT3 spec factory cars from Porsche, Ferrari and Corvette are featured in the GTD Pro and GTD classes. These cars produce 500 to 550 horsepower and are balanced by BOP regulations for close racing. These classes work together to provide a multi-class endurance structure that's exclusive to IMSA in North America, combining production-based GTs with high-tech prototypes. The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is seen as the American equivalent to the WEC. NHRA. One of the biggest motorsports associations worldwide and the primary regulatory body for drag racing in the US and Canada is the National Hot Rod Association, NHRA. In order to steer drag racing away from unlawful street racing and toward organized safe drag racing, Wally Park sought its establishment in 1951. The NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, which showcases the fastest accelerating cars in the world, is the body's top echelon that boasts around 24 races each year. In NHRA drag racing, two cars compete side by side from a standing start on a straight quarter mile, 1,320 foot, or 1,000 foot track in an attempt to be the first to cross the finish line. Elapsed time, ET and top speed are used to quantify races. The quickest classes frequently surpass 330 miles per hour or 530 kilometers per hour in less than 4 seconds. Nitro-methane fueled engines with over 11,000 horsepower are used in the NHRA's top divisions, funny car and top fuel dragster. This allows the cars to fork out the aforementioned speeds and finish races in no time. Pro Stock, which consist of naturally aspirated production-based automobiles, and Pro Stock Motorcycle, which consist of high-performance motorcycles, are additional professional classes. For amateur and semi-professional racers, the NHRA also offers sportsman classes that include everything from street-legal vehicles to specially designed dragsters. John Force holds the most titles of any driver in NHRA history, with 16 in the funny class division. Meanwhile, Tony Schumacher, no relation to Michael, holds the most top fuel titles with 8. WSBK. Now known as the Superbike World Championship, World SBK was founded in 1988. It became the successor to what was then the Formula TT. The series falls under the jurisdiction of motorcycling's biggest body, the FIM, and is considered as the top global series for production-based moto racing. Motorcycle manufacturing giants such as Yamaha, Ducati, Kawasaki, BMW and Honda all compete in the events to flaunt their flagship superbikes. Riders gain championship points depending on their finishing position in the two main races and the short Superpole sprint race that usually takes place during each racing weekend. World SBK bikes must maintain the fundamental engine architecture and frame design of their production equivalents despite significant performance and safety modifications. These vehicles can travel above 320 km per hour, 200 miles per hour, and typically generate between 230 and 240 horsepower. Major racetracks across the world, such as Phillip Island, Assen and Misano, host World SBK events, where professional riders vie for the Riders and Manufacturers Championships. Close racing, overtaking battles, and a strong link to real motorcycles that fans can actually own are some of the series' most well-known features. It's the highest level of production-based motorcycle competition and frequently acts as a precursor to or substitute for MotoGP. DTM. One of the most prominent racing series in Europe and the top touring car racing championship in Germany is the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters (DTM). The Deutsche Tourenwagen Meisterschaft, German touring car championship, which was first established in 1984, has changed throughout the years while retaining its standing as a top-tier manufacturer-supported race. Modified production-based race cars from well-known manufacturers like Mercedes-AMG, BMW, Audi, Ferrari and Lamborghini are featured in DTM. In order to bring the championship into compliance with worldwide sports car racing standards, DTM has implemented GT3 spec regulations since 2021. Originally, the series featured highly constructed silhouette vehicles with advanced aerodynamics and V8 engines. The GT3 vehicles nowadays have rear-wheel drive, generate between 550 and 600 horsepower, and are balanced using the Balance of Performance (BOP) system to guarantee fair competition across brands. 2 sprint races, which highlight driver skill, accuracy and strategy, are usually included in each DTM race weekend. Points are given according to finishing position for the drivers, teams and manufacturers championships, and pit stops are required for tyre replacements. René Rast, Matthias Ekstrom and Bernd Schneider are just a few of the renowned drivers that have come from DTM. This year's finale at Hockenheim also saw one of the most spectacular title fights ever, as Aijin Guin overtook Marco Wittmann with 4 corners to go to claim the title. Close racing is what many fans love about DTM. BTCC. The premier touring car competition in the United Kingdom is the British Touring Championship, or BTCC, was founded in 1958 and boasts production-based cars that resemble roadworthy cars that we see on the streets. BTCC vehicles are constructed in accordance with Next Generation Touring Car (NGTC) standards, which are designed to keep costs down while preserving fierce competitiveness. The vehicles are modified with racing features like sequential gears, 2.0-litre turbocharged engines with about 350 horsepower, and frontal rear-wheel drive systems. They're based on standard 4 or 5-door saloons and hatchbacks from manufacturers like BMW, Honda, Ford, Toyota, and Hyundai. 3 short races are held on Sunday after practice and qualifying on Saturday during a 2-day BTCC race weekend. Qualifying determines the first race grid, Race 1 results determine the second, and for extra excitement, the third race grid is partially inverted. In addition to bonuses for pole position, fastest lap, and the leading lap, drivers receive points ranging from 20 for a victory to 1 for 15th place. Top performers are given extra weight by a success ballast system, which keeps the field close and guarantees exciting, unpredictable racing at every event. Perhaps the most notable personality to win the title is 2-time F1 champion Jim Clark. The racing legend clinched the 1964 championship in between his 2 F1 crowns while driving a Ford Cortina Lotus. FIA World Rallycross Championship. Not to be confused with the WRC, the FIA World Rallycross Championship, aka RX, is a short wheel-to-wheel racing series on closed circuits combining tarmac and gravel. Having been found in 2014, RX boasts the energy of rallying while simultaneously cutting the long and arduous events it entails. With their tight corners, jumps and elevation changes, these short tracks, which are typically 1 kilometer long, create intense close racing where car-to-car contact is frequent. The top drivers go head-to-head for victory in a final after several qualifying heats and semi-finals each race weekend. The Joker Lap, a somewhat longer secondary path that each driver must follow once per race, is a crucial component of rallycross and adds a strategic element to its utilization. The totally electric RX-1E cars that compete in the FIA World Rallycross Championship, World RX, are designed for short, intense races on a variety of terrains. With all-wheel drive, they can accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour in less than 2 seconds and generate up to 680 horsepower and 880 Nm of torque. They weigh about 1,450 kilograms, have a space-frame chassis with production-style bodywork, and Cooper tyres that can be used on both gravel and asphalt. For 2026, the series is reverted back from a World Championship to a European Championship. Stock Car Pro Series Brazil. The BRB Stock Car Pro Series, that's formerly known as the Stock Car Brazil, is the premier Brazilian and South American motorsports league. It was founded in 1979 in hopes of competing with NASCAR and DTM with Chevrolet as the sole constructor. The race cars in the championship are silhouette style, which means they resemble production sedans but are constructed on a tubular steel chassis with consistent mechanical specs to guarantee fierce competition. Today's vehicles are propelled by V8 engines that generate between 450 and 500 horsepower, a 6-speed sequential gearbox and rear-wheel drive. The cars are mechanically comparable, with performance matched for parity, while having similarities to models from companies such as Toyota, Chevrolet and others. Practice sessions, qualifying and 2 sprint races are all part of every race weekend. To promote overtaking, the second race frequently uses a reverse grid. The season ends with a playoff-style finale that determines the overall champion. Points are given towards the drivers' and teams' championships. Noteworthy names that have graced the league are F1 greats such as Rubens Barrichello and Felipe Massa. Turismo Carretera. Founded as the Campeonato Argentino de Velocidad in 1937, the Turismo Carretera, or road touring, is the oldest active racing series in the world. Originally organised in open roads and dirt surfaces in Argentina, it was in the series where future F1 world champion Juan Manuel Fangio broke into the scene with back-to-back titles in 1940 and 1941. Based on vintage Argentine vehicle models from manufacturers including Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge and Torino, Turismo Carretera showcases powerful front-engine, rear-wheel drive race cars. These vehicles are constructed on specialist racing chassis with contemporary safety features, aerodynamics and V8 engines that generate between 450 and 500 horsepower, even though they still have the silhouettes of classic sedans. The vehicles are strong, noisy and built to prioritize mechanical control above electronics and driving skill. Practice sessions, qualifying heats, semi-finals and a big final race are usually included in each TC event. Points are given out for a season-long drivers' championship. The top drivers from the regular season fight for the title in the Copa de Oro, Golden Cup, a playoff system that concludes the championship. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I have another one just like this for you. Here I explain even more racing series to you, so feel free to check that one out next. See you soon.